Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can add a few more details to your house. So the first thing we're going to need is a house. So I'm going to do this a little bit different than I did in the last tutorial videos. I'm going to start with a rectangle on the ground, and I'm going to make this, well, let's go 35 feet by 20 feet. So again, while I'm dragging my rectangle and it's in that free mode, I can just type in the dimensions as you saw. And when I hit enter, there's my rectangle. You'll notice I did that in a little bit different position than I did the other ones. This is just to show you that you can kind of draw anywhere on this program. So I'm going to rotate using the orbit tool and zoom out and pan so I can get a better look at my structure. And I'm going to raise this up. Let's go 8 feet. Now, I'm going to draw a roof, just like I've done before. I'm going to draw a line down the center line from midpoint to midpoint using the pencil tool. And I'm going to click the move tool right here and drag this straight up on the blue axis. Again, notice my line is blue to make my house. And let's orbit around to see if that looks pretty good. Not bad. Now, the reason I'm going to make this a little different is I want to give it a little bit of a more of a unique shape. So I'm going to split this in half. Now, notice I went from midpoint to midpoint. Now I can find the midpoint of this line. Every time you cut a line in half or you add a line, SketchUp automatically finds a new midpoint for each line. So I'm going to click and drag a line here, and click and drag a line here, and erase this one in the center. Now I can use my push-pull tool to pull this out. Let's go 10 feet. That's looking pretty good. And I'm going to draw a roof on it as well. So again, I'm drawing a line up the midpoint on here. I'm going to connect the dots edge to edge. That gives me my general outline. And if I arrange things just right, and I use the line tool again, draw a line straight up, and there we go. See how SketchUp automatically detected that point? I can use that to finish my roof. Not bad. Now again, if you're having trouble with this, if SketchUp doesn't detect that point and you can't quite get it, just draw a nice long line, leave it there, and then use another line to connect it across this way. Again, follow either the red, the green, or the blue axis all the time. That way, for sure, your lines will be straight. Now erase this one and draw your lines connecting your endpoints. That looks pretty good. The next step is I'm going to open up my tags and my entity info. So again, the tags, well, that looks like a tag. And entity info looks like a magnifying glass looking at a cube. And I'm going to use this to remove my roof, to put it on a separate layer or a separate tag. So I'm going to click the plus sign, call this my roof layer, and I'm going to go around and select each of these pieces and add them to the roof. Now when I click that eyeball, away it goes. Now there is a little bit of a shortcut to this. Instead of doing each one of them separate, if you hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, you'll notice that a plus and minus shows up right next to the cursor. Well, if I hold down Shift, I can select multiple pieces at once and move them to that layer. Now this inside piece I can actually delete because that's just on the inside. And now I can move these lines as well There's my roof layer. And let's move this one as well. So here we have the basic outline of our house. There's the roof. Basic outline, here's the roof. Let's take a second to make this look a little bit nicer. Click on our paint bucket, click on our browser, wait for our slow internet, and find some type of siding we want. I guess I'll make this a brick house this time, because why not? I'm just orbiting around the house each time I do this, making sure that each wall is covered with the right texture. That's pretty good. And now I'll grab some roofing on the roofing tab and slap it on there. And there we have it. Let's go back to our tags and hide the roof. So let's add an entranceway. Now it would be nice to put a nice door here. Now I could just take a rectangle tool and drag like a big rectangle or make a door in here. Or we could get something a little bit nicer. Now on the side over here, you've got a bunch of different extra tools. So here's entity info like we've used. There's an outliner, instructor, things like that. What we're interested in is right here, the components tab. Now the components tab shows up right here. So it looks like 3 cubes stacked, and it says search 3D warehouse. Now the 3D warehouse is SketchUp's sort of dump site for all the different models people have uploaded. So if I'm looking for a door, I'm just going to type in door and hit enter. And what's going to pop up are a whole bunch of doors that people have created. All kinds of different styles and things like that. These are models that I can just drop in. So I kind of like the look of this door right here. I'm going to click on it. Notice it said downloading and inserting model. Now when I bring it in, there's that door model. So I can just bring this right into my file. Now notice, when I click on the move tool, it's not oriented the right way. That's not exactly how you'd want your door, correct? Last time I checked, that's not the way you want a door to look. So what you can do is we're going to have to move and rotate this into the right place. So click on the move tool. Now if you hover over the top, you'll notice 4 little red plus signs show up. So again, I'm hovering over. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. These are rotation points. And what they allow me to do is click and drag and rotate it around. Now you'll notice in the bottom right hand corner again where it says angle. Normally that's where it says dimensions when we're building something. Well, this time it says angle. And notice it snaps at 0, it snaps at 40, at 30, at 45, at 60, 90. It snaps at those increments. I'm going to bring that to 0. So now it's facing the right way. I also see that it's kind of sticking out wrong. So what I'm going to do is just click on the end point of the door and then click on one of the lines down here. Now that looks a little bit nicer. Now it's still not quite right. It doesn't have a border or anything. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to click on the midpoint of that. It says midpoint in door, and I'll click right on that line. Now it's not perfect. This wasn't a nice model that had a nice molding or border around it. But if you ask me, that looks like a door. And for now, that's all I want you guys to mess around with, is just adding some components like this. They have windows, they have things like vehicles, decorations. Let's just drop in a bed, for instance. We want a bed in our house. So let's pretend that over here is going to be a bedroom of some kind. So let's draw a line. kind of make this into a separate room. And we're going to make this into a bedroom. So we'll go find a bed. This one looks kind of comfy. We'll download that model inside and drop it in. Now notice it does kind of want to jump around sometimes. Even if you mess it up, you can always move it later again using the Move tool. So here I've got a bed in here. I'll click the Move tool, and I'll just click and drag that into place. Now it's kind of a big bed, and maybe we don't want it to be so large. Sometimes you'll get components that are way too large, but you really like them. Well, in the Move tool, there's also a place that says Scale, right over here. And when you click on Scale, you get all these little green boxes. This allows you to shrink things either uniformly, or say we just wanted to make that a little narrower, to like a single bed, just click like that. Make it a little shorter. We can scale it to whatever size we want. And there we go. Now it's in place. Let's just add a little doorway here. We'll just use a simple rectangle. That'll be our doorway. And we'll go back to our materials, add some color to this. This lovely brown color. And some type of flooring. Oh yeah, that looks like a 70s motel room, ladies and gentlemen. And there we have it. That's a basic interior room, detailed. Let's add a window, just because we want to. We'll go over here to our glass. Both sides. And there we have it. That's another basic house design with an interior room done.